I'm sorry, but I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich.
Welcome to another episode of Ass Talk Podcast on LOCO. We are here with my friend. I'll let you introduce yourself.
First name, last name?
Or however you want to introduce yourself.
Name's Will.
William, this is my guy. I'm Mr. Be Great himself, back again in the flesh. And I'm really excited about this here podcast because anytime me and Will get together, we always have something new to talk about when it comes down to our children's situation. Yeah. I'll let you introduce your whole family asset, just your kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, my kids are back to back to back, 3, 2, and 1. Two girls and a boy. Let's see, Milan, William, and Willow. My babies. So. Yeah. So we literally got like the same thing on because your two oldest are girls, right?
And your youngest are boy.
No, he's split.
Oh, he's split the middle. Okay.
Boy.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yeah. So we got that whole two girl. We still got that 2 girl, 1 boy thing going down. Yeah. So we've known each other only for a few years now.
Because we started playing ball. The first year was with the Cyclones. Right. So then. At least since 2018. Yeah. So it's been a couple of years now.
For sure. Yeah. So what I always like to do is, just to start off the show, we all started some way, somehow, through somebody else's, another man.
Right.
So whether he would stay there with you, whether he didn't stay there with you. And the people that I brought on the show in the past, I've known since we were itty bitty. So I've seen their fathers and everything like that. But this time, for the first time, I've only known you for a couple of years. So I can sit here and ask you and be, basically dumbfounded to know what it was like for you growing up with your dad, all of that, just...
Man, growing up with my dad, it was awesome. I'm not gonna lie. Because it was just me and him, and I had 5 sisters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was just, it was, as far as the men in the house, it was just me and my dad. But, let's see, growing up, like, as a child, it was like it's hard to pay 6 kids attention.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I would kind of like act out and stuff like that.
Especially being the only boy.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted my dad to kind of pay me some attention. But as far as him being there, my dad has always been there. My dad is my best friend, like literally till this day. Mm-hmm. I'm a nurse because of my dad. My dad's a nurse.
Okay.
So like we got into the same things. Even when my dad wasn't always physically there, because like my dad went to nursing school when I was growing up, and he was taking care of me and my sisters. So even when he wasn't physically there, like it was always somebody there. Like my uncle was there.
Like a big family support.
Yeah, like it was. I was always around like some man, an uncle, a cousin, or something like that. But it was cool, man. And my dad, like now, like. It's scary because it's like the older I get, the more of my dad I'm becoming.
Right, I've noticed that too. I was doing the same thing. I'm like, and then when you go and you see your parents now, because you older, you have mindset older, so you look at your parents in a different way. Yeah. And you be like, dang, I'm really doing. You do this, and I'm like, I do the exact same thing that you be doing.
Man, turning into my dad with I think it really hit me. My dad is like crazy about the thermostat. It's like that's like you can't. I don't know if that's like an old black dude.
Right. My dad was the same way.
Yeah. So it's like
once. And when he told you to touch it.
Yeah. And it's like so now I'm the same way. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do you gotta have the house on 90?
Right.
Oh well, it's cold. It's just warm. Just put it on 75 and just keep it there. You know what I'm saying?
My
dad, you're right. So my dad used to wait. Like if we wanted to turn on the heat, bro, like December. You know what I'm saying? And if it was cold, bro, like put on some clothes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If we cutting on the air the middle of July when the heat index is 158, you can turn the air on. Other than that, right, just cut a fan on. It's like, bro, it's like I'm the same way. It's crazy.
The same way.
Yeah.
That is wild how things just transcend. And you take on what they're doing. You take on some of the How you feel you'll be with towards your son?
Man, so it's crazy because like my son is a mommy's boy now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When he was first born, like he was under me a lot, and then like now it's like him and his mama. They like this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially, you know, with me not being there like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, him and his mom. But I guess how it would be with my son is probably how my dad was with me. You know, my dad wasn't super hard on me, but he just taught me accountability and just, you know what I'm saying, like just being a man of your word and like all that kind of stuff. So it's certain things that I would probably do different because like I got whoopings as a kid.
Yes.
You know. And it wasn't that bad. But if we were to do these things in 2021 now, like we would probably
you really have to, you really got to be smart with your decision when it comes down to parenting your child.
Right.
Especially not being with the mother. Because that's what, because, we got our story, just getting into our stories.
Of course.
That guy almost got me messed up.
Yeah.
Like all I was doing was parenting my kid. I'd be on there since we're separated or whatnot. She always would look at me like I'm the mean one.
Oh, of course.
Then with her being lighter and all that, she might have, bumps or bruises on herself or something like that. Just not even from me, just for anything like that. But with all of that happening, the court don't know none of that. So She just took all of that, took it to, the court system. And I went without seeing I had an order of protection put against me. I went without seeing my kid.
Right.
So it's just why now when I parent her, I have to think twice about everything that I do. Yeah. Like I can't, like the way I really want to parent you, I can't parent you like that. Because
well, I'm just as a parent, I don't think whoopings work.
You don't?
Because if they work, would you have to do it more than once?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like that's like I got a lot of whoopings. You know what I'm saying? I got so many whoopings because it's like it wasn't effective for me, And I think that a lot of the times when I got whoopings, I think it was because my parents were just frustrated and they didn't know what else to do. Right. You know what I'm saying?
That's what we've grown up with since all time.
Right. And I mean, it was normal because we talk to each other now. It's like I got whoopings. Exactly. It's weird if you didn't get whoopings if you grew up in the 90s. But like now, I don't think we can parent kids like that. And like it's just, especially with us being fathers, like we're scrutinized so much more than mothers are. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like if I'm like, man, I wanna whoop my son. Now, like I don't think his mom would trip if I whooped him. But it's like now, like I try, I'm not strong enough. He's 2. I don't really whoop him, but I do enough to let him know I mean business. You know what I'm saying? And like my son, like he's 2 now, and he's taking like that terrible 2 thing. Like he took that to heart. He was like, I have to be bad now,
I'm that guy.
And like he will get into everything. You know what I'm saying? And I'll try to just like pop it, just a quick little, and it just like it does nothing. Yeah. Like he think I'm playing. He'll hit me back, and I'm like, it's not a game. Right. I'm real life serious right now.
Real life.
Like we're not joking right now. But it's with him being so young. I really haven't gotten into that because I don't see why you gotta.
Especially
hit a 2-year-old like
they're not gonna remember nothing. They don't really know what they're doing.
And he's still trying to figure out life. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's just different. But I don't think anybody. I want to prepare my son for this world, and being in this world as a black man, where really I feel like my biggest mistake in my life that I'm paying for right now is just having a child by the wrong person. Right. And I don't think that's a crime. They treat you like it's a crime. They feel like it's a crime. But I don't think, so I just want to, my biggest thing, especially for my son, man, is just to prepare him for the world. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to be out here and he's just not prepared for how the world is going to
set up. And it's wild. Just coming from a background where like I was prepared for the world, but I wasn't prepared for the underground, real deal. So like stuff like that, like I was made sure my parents did a really great job of making sure that I didn't have to experience anything that they really experienced or anything like that. So when I did get out there in the world, I was dumbfounded, like, oh, like what? This is not at all what I thought. Like, what is it? I'm over here thinking I'm gonna see glory dreams and like highlights and stuff, and it seemed like you just walked into a whole nother situation. So that's where I'm coming from too. I'm like, I need to make sure, especially with my son, I need to make sure that you are ready for everything. Like, as much as I don't want you to, you know, experience some things, I need to at least, you know, do something for so you can.
I think, you know, as parents, like, it's our job to make sure they don't have to experience the same hardships that we have, you know. But in doing that, I still want to let him know, hey, they exist.
Right.
You may not have to go through it, but these hardships, they still exist out there.
I just took care of it for you. But
Yeah. So, that's the biggest thing with him. But yeah, that's my little guy, man. He's so full of personality. I want to get him in sports so bad, but I'm so scared because I feel like, because I'm small.
Right.
I feel like I know my son's going to be small. Like, I think I put on Facebook a while ago. Every time I take him to the doctor, they're like, your son's undersized.
He's in the lower percentile.
Well, look, doc, I'm in the lower percentile. Like, what do you want me to do? You know how it is, bro.
Right.
Stop telling me something I already know, man. Stop frustrating me with this information.
Give you this extra stress.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, I really want to get him into sports, and it's like, you know, but my dad wasn't into sports. Like, so football games, basketball games, like, he was just like, whatever. Right. You know, my dad was into music. And I didn't like music like that, you know. My dad wanted me to play, I don't even know what it was, but he wanted me to, I don't like music, I like sports, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I want to get him into that, you know, but you
gotta find the right sport. My thing with that too is my son got 50-50 because with me, I'm on the lower end, but I got some people in my family that's kind of tall. And then, but on her side, on my girl's side, every single male in her entire family is 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", and above. So I'm trying to you gotta find that sport. Like, I don't want him to really worry about, if you're good at football, basketball, cool. I don't want you to worry about that because, as we know, you can be as good as you want to. You didn't see me play. I'm about, but because I was 5'8", 5'9", all the D1 schools was like, we're going to go with this.
We'll pass.
So, but if I was playing soccer and I was the exact same way of playing baseball, you'd be in short. So we just got to find, if they're on that lower end, we find that little sport that
I think, I know that's where we can bond, so I just hope he has the interest. You know what I'm saying? Because if my son come to me and go, hey, Dad, you know, I want to be a professional football player, I'm going to go, sit down, son, I got a sad story.
You got two positions. You can be a kicker, or you be a running back.
Exactly. And you're not going to last long as a running back. And we could, you know, I would probably tell him, like, bro, you know, I don't think that's going to be for you, but I still hope he has that interest so that, you know what I'm saying, we can, because you know, before we have sons, we're just like, I can't wait to have a son. Exactly. He gonna play football, and I'm gonna be the coach. We gonna, you know, so we have all of these dreams, and then we don't even tell ourselves, like, bro, what if my son is born and he gets the age and he hates football?
You want to play? I don't even like no sports, Dad.
You know, or my son's like, you know, hey, Dad, I want to play the flute. And I'm just like,
and I was saying that could possibly happen because what I realize is, a lot of, especially with you being so close to your dad, that means he's gonna be really close to you. And he messing around and probably will like music just because off the fact that.
And if he does, if my son, and that's the thing, if my son has any interest, I will find interest in it. Right. It's not gonna be, I don't like that, I never did it, so I don't care. Bro, if you want to play the saxophone, let's go get you one and let's get you in some lessons. You know, I can't teach you. You know what I'm saying? Right. If you at the spelling bee, and that's what you good, I'm going to be the happiest parent at the spelling bee.
I said, if you playing and you in the chess meet, I'm going to be out to checkmate. Wow. Like it's a football game. Somebody get this man out of here. I'm going to have my hand and everything. All of it.
Yeah, so, man, I'm just, with my boy, man, I want to keep him close to me because like me and his mom talk about that all the time. You know, my biggest fear with my son, and I don't have this with my daughters, and I don't know why. And it's not that I don't love him. I love him differently or anything, but just the climate that we live in. My biggest fear with my son is somebody taking my son from me.
Yes.
You know, and it's just like, whew, I lose it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you've seen American Skin. Okay, so I got a little bootleg fire stick, so I watch all the movies. But it's a movie about a guy who basically the same old song. He was in a car with his son. They were in a nice neighborhood. He was picking his son up. He was racially profiled. They pulled him over. His son was going to a private school where they were teaching him about his rights and civics and all that kind of stuff. He was going to school with a lot of white people. So his dad had told him, like, you don't have those same privileges. So his son was filming this cop ended up killing him, right?
I think I seen the commercials.
Right. So he ended up killing him. He got acquitted. So what his dad did was rounded up the police chief and he went down to the police station with a bunch of guns, a bunch of people he was in the military with, and he held this trial in the courtroom because he wanted to get a fair trial because he didn't feel like he got one. And the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm yelling at the TV like, kill this guy, just kill him and get it over with, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the movie, basically, the jury was the convicts, the people that they had in the jail. They had a trial. This police officer had to explain what he did, and they ended up finding him guilty. And when they found him guilty, this was the end of the movie. They found him guilty. He brought the dude up. He made a meal. He put a gun to his head, and then he pulled the trigger, and there was nothing in there. And then he let him go. And he said his only purpose was he wanted this police officer to feel how he felt every day. You know what I'm saying? And the movie, bruh, not emotional when it comes to movies. I promise you, I'm not. Probably last time I cried in movies when I watched Lion King when I was a kid. But I'm watching this movie, bruh, like not even a week ago. And I'm crying because I'm like, bruh, that was so powerful. And I'm just like, I don't know if I could have that same restraint if I'm looking a man in the eye that took my son from me.
That's what
you know, and it's just like...
especially like in that type of way, too.
Right. And it's like, what do? We can tell our sons, you know, say yes, sir, nurse, or comply, do all of that kind of stuff, but it's still people that have done all those things and they still ended up dead. So I think that's the only thing with my son that I worry about is just keeping him safe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And my son is 2 now. I take 5 everywhere with me. You know, everybody loves him. You know, it don't matter. Nobody is looking at my son like he's a threat. But I know one day that's gonna change.
And it's just walking up. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and that's gonna change, and I have to prepare myself for that. He's not gonna be this cute little 2-year-old forever. But I know him as my son. I know that he's not a threat. I know that he's a person. I know that he's not a thug, and he comes from a family that loves him and all that kind. But they don't, and it's just like, man, I don't know what I would do. So I think that's probably my biggest thing.
That's a fact.
You know, so,
that's deep. That's one of them. That is a huge fear. And like you said in the beginning, it is crazy how you have a fear different of your sons and your daughters anyway. Like not nothing like on purpose of saying that you love one more than the other, but just on the fact of, you know, them being taken away from you or just you not being with with your other person. Because like with my daughters, like me and their mother not working out didn't scare me as much as it did when I found out I was having my son and me and her not working out. Like, I'm like, damn, me and you don't work out. My son, right? That's like my son. It's not.
And I'm telling you, bro, women, they don't understand it because they'll look at that like you love one
exactly.
kid.
And it's not at all.
It's not that, but it's just like that boy is different.
It is.
But and then they don't get it because that girl is different too.
It is.
Because man, when I found out I was having a girl, that changed more for me when I found out I was having a boy. because it's like this daddy's baby.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm used to it because I got 5 sisters, so I'm used to always trying to be that protector.
Right.
But when that's your daughter,
it's a different.
Yeah, it's
it's
different, and it was like I thought I was being punished for a minute. I'm like, why? What did I do?
Bro.
You know what I'm saying?
You at least got a son right now. I got another one. I gotta be being punished. It's gotta be something that I did. All the stuff that
because I was at the last gym.
Yeah, I was hurt, bro. There's no way, and it's crazy because you listen to all these little, they have all these little, I forgot what you call it, superstitions or whatever, what you gonna have a boy, and every single one was leaning towards a boy. And I said, there is no way. I said, I'm with this one. I said, if it had anything to do with me treating somebody wrong, whatever, I'm good now. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And it still was a girl.
It's just genetics, bro. We can't control it. It just happens. But I mean, all right. So like, where was your excitement at when you found out you was having a boy?
My excitement for me was just that I'm finally having a boy. Like just having the 2 girls, you know, back to back.
Right.
You know, like it's not that I was really upset that I was having Gia.
Right.
It was just the fact that, like, you know, it's only 2 things you can have. You either have a boy or a girl.
Right.
And I got my girl, like I wanted my son now.
Right.
But now that I'm having a son, it's like, okay. And, well, to be completely honest, the biggest excitement for me was that I did have 2 girls.
Right.
So I was already prepared. I've been through all the court stuff and being separated from the, you know, first mother of mine, so I know how to react in certain situations. Then I have my second daughter, who I'm with her mother, and I still was a little young when I had her, so I still wasn't doing everything right. But now I'm like, it's a third chance. Like I went through my first stage where I was absolutely, I'm gonna be honest, I was absolutely dog shit terrible. I was in college, like, you know, or I wasn't as bad as most people.
Right.
You know, put out to be.
I'm not saying myself. So
right, I wasn't as good as I should have been. And then with my second one, you know, I'm like, okay, it's my second one. I'm better than I was my first one, but I still wasn't, you know, to that ultimate where I look at actually my dad and I'm like, that's a dad. Like that right there is a dad. Right. So I'm getting there now, and now that I'm there, and I feel like I know I'm not 100% golden. I don't got this whole daddy thing down, and nobody does.
Of course.
But I'm the best that I've ever been, and it's with my son.
Right.
So now I'm gonna have him 100%, and I got my whole mindset to where all that little kid stuff that I had back then, all that little, you know, I'm gonna go to college 2 hours down the way and leave you here with them all night, even though you've been with them all day, and I just let you know an hour before. All that is over with.
Of course.
Because it's my son. I'll tell you to go somewhere, and I'm gonna sit here, you know, or well, not even just my son, I'm gonna sit here with all 3 of my kids, and I'm gonna let you go somewhere because my mindset's changed. So that's really what was the most exciting for me, other than just the typical, I'm having a son and I could do all of that.
Are you naming him after you?
Yeah, his name's gonna be Gregory Giovanni Gibson.
So is he?
He's not so my dad's name is Gregory Gibson, and I'm Gregory Joaquin Gibson. So like,
so he's not a he won't be like a junior.
He won't be a third, but he's still gonna be the third grade.
Right.
And so because
are you gonna give him that suffix?
It's just gonna be because technically no. So it's just gonna be. He's just gonna live with what I had to live with my whole life and telling people like, I'm not a junior, I'm not a third, I'm just Gregory.
Well, it's gonna be better than what my son gotta live with.
Well, that's true. Well, I like that. Like, I would love if he was a third, like an actual. Because I wanted to be a junior.
Right.
Yeah. So, because I love what y'all got.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, my son.
Like y'all call him 5. That's tough to me.
But he gotta explain to everybody his middle name.
Okay.
Which is hard. You know, our middle name is Beverly.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. And that's, bruh, as a kid, bruh. And like people ask me all the time, like, what made your parents name you?
Right.
But then, like, my great grandfather was born in 1920.
Oh yeah, so it was one of those. That's a nice name.
Right, in like Greenville, Mississippi. So it was Beverly was probably like popping back then. It's not now.
You hear Beverly? That's what you think.
So it's like. like, yeah, because, like, you know, people ask me that all the time. Like, some people thought my son's name was 5.
Right.
And they was like, why'd you name him 5? And I'm like, his name is William. You know, but, you know, he's the 5th now, and we ran out. Right. My grandfather goes by Junior. My dad goes by Bill. I go by Will. There's no more variations of his name.
It's called 5.
So, so he goes by 5. And, like, it stuck. Because, like, at first, it didn't sound right.
Right.
And then I started calling him that. And then now it kind of stuck. But, your son's going to be stuck explaining
he's going to, because another thing is, too, I want to call him Gio. So, everybody's going to be calling him by his middle name. Right. So, he's going to deal with that situation where it's like, is your name Giovanni? No, my name's not Giovanni. My name's actually Gregory. He's gonna be like a freshman. People know him since he was a kid. But, your name's actually Gregory. Right. It's not Giovanni. Like, what the your name is not Gregory. So like, but I like that though, because you got Gio and G. So yeah. And then it just, like I said, and then it works because he's a 3rd grade, so it's 3 G's. Right. So it'll be GGG. Yeah. So people coming up with all these different names, and we've actually taken on with 5. Me and my girl was talking, and we were like, she was like, why don't we just, because everybody's trying to come up with all these different names to come up with for 3. Mm-hmm. And she was like, why don't we just call them 3? And I was like, that might stick. Because I like when they say 5. Like, we were talking about y'all all the time. You're like, we like it when y'all say 5, so he calls 3. And that'd be his, that'd probably mess around be his number. So I can't wait for that.
Man, that's going to be awesome. Yeah. So are you ready to, like, watch that again? Watch, like, Childbirth?
I'm not. We actually talked about this last night. I'm trying to prep myself because I saw it. So the first with Audrey, I looked 100% and changed my view on everything. I saw the videos and stuff when I was a kid. Cause I used to want to be an OBGYN. So I used to want to all the way up until my freshman year. I never would have guessed that. Bro, and it's not even off the fact because everybody would hear me as a kid. Kids are immature, but you just want to look at vaginas all day. You don't want to look at. If you actually want to know, I don't like what vaginas look like. To be completely just fun fact, especially as a kid, I hated it. So that was not it at all. Yeah, but. Back then, I was like, no, I was a real, sought out kid, so I was like, no, I want to bring babies into the world. I want my face, babies can't see, I want my face to be the first face. 100 million babies to see. I was the first one that touched the baby. Right. A baby because I was always like that. But then I came into health class, well, not health class, but human anatomy, and I was the only male in there. And then she showed us the birth. Yeah. Changed. I ain't know what I saw that in nursing school. Yeah, so I was like, that was gross. So, but I still look because it was my first kid. So I'm looking at Audrey. I'm looking down there, and I see all of that. And that picture in my head is still in my head to this day. Yeah. And so, and it changed my, like I said, it changed my view on a lot of things. Especially back then, you can't get that picture out your head. So you looking and you see that all the time. So then we come on to the next one with Gia, and she got a C-section. Right. But I said I wasn't gonna look, even if she was gonna have a whatever, because I didn't want to look at my girl right now and see what I saw, and then have to keep replaying that in my head. So I'm not looking at it all. Was that bad? It was for me. It was that bad. Just that first, how did it opens all the way up. Baby gotta come up. Baby gotta come up. So and I always wonder how it is. It's this small, and then the baby comes out, and you literally see it open. Yeah, you see the baby come out, you see all of that, and it was beautiful. But at the same time, I gotta look down there again later on, and that's all I see. Really? So in my head, that's what it was. Okay. I would see it, and I'd be like, okay, eventually I got over it, but. I don't want that. I didn't want that head, and I didn't want that thought in my head. So I'm not looking. But with my son, I'm in a predicament because I'm like, damn, I want to see my son come out. Man. I don't want to see the extra. No. So I might just look once they say his head is out. So are they doing another? She gets to pick. Oh, okay. Yeah. So she doesn't. See, she didn't get to pick. They told her she had to go the same route. Oh, really? Every time, so. Yeah, they told her because they when they did the C-section, they did it to where she didn't have to get a C-section every time. Oh, okay. Yeah. So she's in that predicament now where she doesn't know, which one she wants to do because nobody wants to have a C-section in the first place. Yeah. So she doesn't want to go through that again. I really don't want that to be again either because I feel like you're cutting the wound. It's cutting the scab again. Yeah. And especially you just got it. It's not like it's healed up 100% because you just got it a few. Right. And I think that's why she had to do C-sections like that back to back because they said if she tried the other way that she would tear. Oh, okay. Because it hadn't healed properly. Yeah. But man, when I saw my son being born,
think I cried. I did cry. She was, we were in like the operating room, and it's like they got her like sealed off, you know, bottom half, top half, you know, and I'm up there with the top half, and I'm just, you know, like, how do you feel?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I feel fine. I'm like, can you feel anything? She's like, no, just pressure. And she was shivering because she was real cold. And I remember them, I remember the lady saying, Dad, you can look.
Right.
So then I looked, but before I could look, I heard this little cry. And for some reason, I just started crying. I didn't know why. Because, like, I wasn't sad, I wasn't happy.
Right.
But I just started crying. It was weird. So yeah, like, then it was weird because I went off on her because she kept hitting my baby. I don't know why she kept smacking him. I'll never, bro, it's so weird because it was a little Hispanic lady and she had like a heavy accent. So she keep smacking him because this was the first time I've ever like seen like childbirth.
Oh,
right?
really?
So I wasn't.
You didn't see your daughter?
No.
Well,
That's a totally different story. But no, so he was the first one. So like she's smacking his foot and smacking his head, smacking his back. So I'm like, yo, smack my son again. So she's with this accent and she's like, oh no, and she's trying to get him to cry. So I'm like, oh, okay. This is making sense to me, bro. Cause I don't know, dude.
Right.
Y'all smack the white baby too? Cause if y'all just smacking the black babies, I'm having a problem with it. But yeah, bro, it was crazy, and she had took my son back there, and I probably held my son for like 6 hours, bro, just look, cause she was asleep. You know, and I just held him and I just looked at this baby because he was small. He was 5 pounds, 15 ounces. But he was little because he was premature a little bit. And I just stared at this kid, man. And I started making like all of these mental promises to myself. You know, it was crazy. Like, it changed my life, man. Because I'm like, bro, I do not want to be a failure at this parenting thing, you know. But yeah, that's crazy. I can't wait, man. I can't wait to get these boys together. You know,
it's gonna be lit,
man. Yeah.
So how does that? So then when you look at, so going into that, because when I had Audrey, I cried like a dog. Like I was bawling as soon as you pulled it out and I saw her and like everything clicked for me. I started bawling, and then when I got Gia, I cried with Gia too because. I cried really for a different reason because Gia looked like me coming straight out. She was dark, like she was like her mom. But now, bro, I don't even want to.
she every time I see her, I'm like,
bro,
man,
I don't understand how just 3-4 months ago, me and you was twins, like twins to the utmost. And then I opened up my eyes one day, I said, you look just like your mama. It's disgusting.
Low key makes you. Like your kid a little bit. You're like, wait a minute, man. You're a traitor.
She be making the same faces. And it be that attitude makes us like that. Like yesterday she looked up on me and gave her the nastiest eye roll I've ever seen. Well, I wouldn't say I've ever seen because after that she was like, her mom, she went off on her. And I said, oh no, why are you going off on her?
Because that's you.
That's the exact same eye roll that you do. If you wanted to know, that's your eye roll. Right. That's your fault. But I don't be so... So I seen my daughters go through it, but I don't know. I just feel like, was it, because did you see, now your youngest daughter, how was that? Compared to your, I mean, not comparing, but it is different experiences.
It was different. It was different, because I had just kind of went through the same thing, like not that far before that, so it was different, but it was different because of the relationship that me and her mom had at the time, like with my son, like we was together.
Right.
So it was like every day, every night.
Right.
Like I'm rolling over at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to the shopping center behind the house to get you some ice cream. You know what I'm saying? So with that, it was different, but still like the day she was born, it was still like the same thing. You know, but I was more scared because I'm just like, I was already dealing with this situation with my oldest daughter.
Right.
And then my son. And then me and her had separated. And then I was having all of these other problems. It was just like, I don't think I can do this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, she's here now. So like, we don't have a choice. Like, we just gonna figure it out.
Right.
You know? And then till this day, I'm still just figuring it out, you know, and like me and their mom, like we talk, you know, cause we still figuring it out, you know what I'm saying? We trying to, you know, bring things back together in a sense, but you know, we start to reassure each other a lot, you know what I'm saying? That she's doing a good job as a mother, that I'm doing a good job as a father, and I think that whether you're with the mother or not, it's important. It's not always possible. it's damn sure not always possible, because there's no way I could call my oldest daughter's mother and be like, hey, you know, I think you're a great mother. Like, I would probably physically throw up if I'm able to do something like that. But, you know, we have a good working relationship. And, of course, like, it's not always perfect. Right. We have a good working relationship where we able to do what's best for our kids. Like, I work a travel assignment. You know, so I'm working 2 hours away. You know, I work 6 to 7 days a week. So when I come home, it's like, you know, I get to see my kids. Right. You know what I'm saying? And they love it when I come home. And I feel bad because I'm like, man, I'm away from my kids this much. I hate it. Yeah. I feel like I'm a terrible parent because I'm away from my kids this much, you know. But it's like when I come home, it's like they don't care. You know, like daddy's here. Oh man. Yes. It's like it doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter to them, you know. But that reassurance that I get from her sometimes, like, you know, she understands I'm doing what I have to do. You know, it's not like I just moved away. You know, I'm working and, you know, so that's good. But with having them two, man, especially as close as we did, I'm done. I'm no more kids are coming from me. But I just, man, I want them to like with them growing up together, I don't know, I want them to have a good relationship. Right. Like me and my sister, we are a year and 9 days apart. We like this, like to this day. Like we are super close. We think the same, we act the same. You know, we're super close, and I want them to have that. And I also want like my other daughter, like I want them to like that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like when you had your daughter and I saw her and I'm like, bro, I love this because she gets to meet her sister. Right. You know, I grew up, I have a brother. Nobody knows I have a brother, and I have an older sister, you know, and I didn't get to grow up with them. Like, till this day, me and my brother, like, my brother stay in South City. You know, he lives here, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, me and my brother, like, I don't think it's because he dislikes me, but it's like been so much time, it just never, you know, and I don't have a lot of energy to expend to kind of be like, hey, be my brother, bro. I'm 30. If you don't want to be my brother, don't be my brother, dog. I got kids now, you know. So it's like, I don't want my kids to go through that because, like right now, I'm not seeing my daughter. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I don't know if that'll change for the foreseeable future. Right. So like what I noticed a lot, especially when my sister, my oldest sister, her name is Jasmine, kind of rekindled, there was this thing because it was like, okay, well you had our dad growing up and I didn't. Yeah. I don't want that to be a thing with my kids. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And it's like, I don't want my daughter to look at them two and not like them for something that they couldn't control. If you don't like me, then I'll accept that. But not to like your brothers and sisters because their mom allowed them to have me and allowed me to have them, and yours didn't. It's super unfortunate, you know. But yeah, I'm hoping one day that'll change, but people don't understand how difficult it is. They don't. You know, and I remember I watched the podcast with you and AJ, and I'm like, man, I hope we get to talk about that. Because you asked, what would you tell fathers that are thinking about giving up? And I watched that and I listened to it, and I'm like, I know he ain't talking about me specifically, but it hits home. Yeah, for sure. Because I have that battle within myself. All the time. Daily. And it's like, you know, how much longer can I keep doing this?
Like, how much more can I take? Like, how much more can you take from like that? Like, that one, what's his name? How can Tariq Gibson?
Who was that?
The dude from Fast and Furious, the black dude from Fast and Furious. The one.
Oh, Tyrese.
Yeah, Tyrese Gibson. I just know his last name. Right. That's the same last name.
When he was like, what do you want from me?
Everybody was laughing at him.
Yeah.
I was hurt.
I felt his pain. Yeah, bro.
I was sitting there like, bro, I felt that. Like, you
pain.
can't take they try to take everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you trying to take everything when I just want to be there?
Yeah.
Like, if it was up to me, she would be with me right now.
Yeah.
Roles would be flipped.
Yeah.
She'd be with me during the school year, and everybody know, I just get to see my daughter. The courts took it out of my hands and set it up to where I just see Audrey on the summer. And honestly, bro, I don't get her the whole summer. Mm-hmm. She gets her 3 weeks in the summer. Mm-hmm. And this was when, and I set it up like that because I thought at the time, you thinking at the time, the whole summer is damn near 3 months. Mm-hmm. I get her schedule back, and it's not. It's only like 2.5. Right. 2. So I'm there getting half the summer taken away from me too. Then I just see her on those little other breaks or whatever like that. So when I got that news and they told me that, and I know it's more than other people get, of course. But I still, bro, when I say I flipped, I was in the courtroom and I spazzed, and my lawyer was like, "Yeah, you probably need to." Go out. Yeah. and I was like, because I'm sitting here pissed, and the judge was sitting there, and she just looking at me like I'm crazy. Yeah. Like just looking at.
For wanting to be a parent, right?
Yeah, and as I was walking out, I would turn around and I'm looking because I was, I took it to the most level that I could because I'm not no dumbass. I'm not gonna do nothing.
Right. You're not gonna go crazy.
Y'all finna have to lock me up, whatever. But I'm getting somewhere you feel what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm looking at her and she just looking at me like, why is this dude acting like this? Yeah. Like, because you just took my child away from me for basically the entire year, and there was nothing I could do about it, and it was all because of she was in a quote unquote school. Yeah. And y'all don't want to take her out of school, but so you would rather her be in. And she was 3. Yeah. You don't start school till you 5. Right. Technically. Yeah. So you take her and then you upset like I had to I took off screaming, running right into the bathroom, so I had to be away from people. Yeah. And they called the police in there, so then the police was in there. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because I look up and I see 2, 3 police officers standing in front of me. I didn't know what was going on. I was over here spazzing, looking down at everything. Right. I look up and there's 2, 3 police officers in front of me. I'm like, now it's finna go down a whole nother round. Right. And I don't even want to go down. And then it was crazy because they just looked at me and they're like, we're not in here to make, because it was, it's closed up in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not in here to make anything worse. They said, we understand. They said, we just need you to get up, calm down, get yourself together, wipe yourself off. It's all going to be cool. You're going to come back. And I'm looking at them like, damn, like, because they see it on an everyday basis. Like, just sitting in that courtroom and seeing all the fathers come out. Yeah. I wish they would do a documentary on that. Man. And, like, just you could do a whole show with just showing fathers coming out the courtroom for custody battles.
Yeah. And it's crazy. It's crazy because, like, I don't know if you ever been to court for, like, child support.
Yeah, I done been for all of it.
Right. So, like, that's what I'm doing now. And I'm not gonna get too deep, but I'll just share a little insight. So I'm going to court now for my child support because, as you know, at one point in time I was paying a ridiculous amount. Bro. So I went. So we do it all over Zoom now, right? So it's all over your phone. So they have you log in at 1:30. They probably didn't see me till about 4:00 p.m.
Really?
So when you log in, this is what they say.
I'm glad you're telling me that I actually got one of them hearings on Thursday next week.
Take the day off.
Take the whole day
off.
Okay.
I promise. It takes forever because it's not just you. So, so you log in, you see a whole bunch of different men. I got nervous. I'm like, everybody go hear my business. I want them to know how much I owe these people. So they put you in a separate room by yourself. So it's like a virtual room, but like the screen is blank, and you just sit there. And sit there. Last time, I swear to God, I made a meal, I took a nap, I watched a movie. I did so much stuff. But when I logged in, honestly, this judge made me feel like less than a person because this is how she greeted us. She said, "Good morning, welcome to courtroom, whatever. You are here for child support, blah, blah, blah." She said, "This is not the time to express your visitation rights. your custody rights. This is not where we address that. We do not care. If you do bring that up, we will hold you in contempt of court. So it's just like, bro, what? so you mean to tell me that you finna ask me
for all my money,
for all of this money, but I can't tell you that, hey, I want to see my kid,
right.
yo. No. And like when I tell, like, they mean it. So
they really do.
They do.
That's what's crazy.
So it's like when it was finally my turn, I'm not even talking to the judge. I'm talking to the prosecuting attorney. So she gets on, and she was actually not as rude as the judge, because I've been twice. The second time I talked to the judge and the prosecuting attorney. The first time it was just prosecuting attorney. So she asked me. She said, why weren't you paying child support? And I just told her, because I don't get to see my kid, and I know it wasn't right, but nobody has been paying me any attention. I can't talk to anybody. I can't get in front of the courts. Right. The Family Support Division is not the family. They should change it to the BM Support Division, because they're not supporting the family. So like nobody helps me. Nobody hears me. And then, everybody is so quick to say, go to court, go to court, go to court. And I have to remind people the court isn't the zoo.
It's not.
It isn't the science center.
You
can't walk in there.
You go to court and you mess around and everything done flipped on you.
Well, the thing is, it's not even that. It's expensive.
That's
it's not
too.
free.
Yes, it's not free.
People say go to court, like you can just walk in and go, what's up, y'all?
You gotta pay that lawyer.
Right, you gotta pay that lawyer. Yeah. Most lawyers in St. Louis, they're asking for at least $1,000 to $1,500 for a retainer.
Yes, just up front. And on top of that, they're gonna charge for
every time they have to go
for
back.
phone calls, for everything.
Yeah, so people make it seem like it's just super easy. So, I talked to the prosecuting attorney and she said, I understand what you're saying. Unfortunately, we don't handle that here. You would have to go to but you might want to start paying this child support or you'll end up in jail. And I said, well, if that's where we at, then come get this money. You know what I'm saying? If that's how far we've taken this, then you know what I'm saying, then that's what I'm going to do. But, and then I talked to my dad about it because my dad has been through almost a similar situation. And, I'm just telling him how, and then the second time I went, I got chastised by this judge. Like, she just sat there for 5 minutes and just told me how shitty of a person I was. So, and I just had to listen to it, right? So the prosecuting attorney warned me, right? So she's like, hey, I'm finna bring the judge in. I don't know what she's going to say to you. She's really not a nice person, but I don't want her to hold you in contempt of court. So whatever she says, just don't respond, right? So I'm like, all right, but you know me. Yeah. I talk a lot.
Yeah.
So the whole time, she's talking to me, and she's like, you're this far behind, and, how could you do that, and, you're supposed to support this child, and, and you failed on that responsibility, and you call yourself a father, and the whole time, I'm just like, just shut up, Will. Because you just made this payment. Right. So you have no bail money. And the only thing I was thinking was, we're on Zoom. So even if she does hold me in contempt of court, how does this work?
They ain't gonna give you.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
They ain't gonna give you.
Right. Right. So the whole time I'm thinking, can they really lock me up? But I'm not gonna push her buttons. So I let her make me feel this big, like a terrible person. And after that, I just was like, bro, this is terrible. And I called my dad and I vented. And, he's just like, yo, you gotta do what you gotta do. So
and that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
There's nothing that changed. It don't.
Nope. And I told myself, bro, if I ever get into politics, because I've always wanted to get into politics, always. And probably when I'm done with school and my kids get a little bit older, I probably will, because somebody has to fix this.
Somebody has to fix it.
We can't.
We stuck on a system that was set up back in the day when all fathers did was just go out and work and send money.
Right. But it doesn't affect the powers that be. Right. See, this is a poor people problem. and I don't say poor people in a negative way. I just say poor people as if you gotta go to work every day, you poor. Yeah. I'm poor. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this is not a problem that affects them, but somebody has to pay attention to it. And it's like for myself, I can't go through it and complain about it and say that it's broken, and I don't even at least try to fix it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I will be able to, but man, I'm gonna try. I've looked into it. Like, you gotta start off as an alderman. They want you to have at least a bachelor's degree in something, you know, for you to get in politics and all of that kind of stuff, which is crazy because the president we just had is a moron. But they want you to have at least a bachelor's degree in something, you know what I'm saying, for you to start. And it's just like, man, like I gotta do something. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that it's set up is just not right. And the thing is, I don't want anybody to misunderstand me. I do not disagree with child support. I do not feel that child support is wrong. I do not feel people shouldn't be on child support. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd rather be on child support because if I am, that means I don't even have to talk to them. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But as heavy as you enforce this child support, enforce my visitation rights as well. Yeah. That's the only thing that I ask. Needs to be. While you beating on my door, while you got sheriffs serving me letters and all that kind of stuff, have that same energy when it comes to me seeing my child. If I saw my child, I wouldn't miss a payment. It wouldn't matter. That'd be my thing. It's not that I don't want to pay child support. I want to pay child support. Yeah. But it's what y'all do with it. Like you said, I'm not seeing my child the way you're not seeing your child at all. I'm not seeing my child the way that I want to see my child. And you're not even giving me a chance to fight for that. And when I do want to fight for that, like I said, you look at me like I'm crazy. Yeah. And then you take away all of them. They gave you a ridiculous amount. They gave me a ridiculous amount as well, just off the fact that I had a good job and I did good at that time, and they were legitimately looking at me like when it came down to my first child support order, when they gave me that sheet, and I looked at it, and honestly we both looked at it, and she said, "Is this for the year? Is this for the year or is this for the month?" That's what your baby mama said. That's what my baby mama said. So she was surprised. I didn't even say. Yeah. I was still sitting at the paper, looking at the paper like, am I reading this right? Like, this is not what. Excuse me, man. You put so many zeros over here. Is this what? Because I came in here thinking it was going to be so much. And they say this for the year. And then she's like, oh. And then the dude was like, y'all got any, problems with it? And of course she was like, no, I'm fine. And I said, I have a problem. Can we talk to somebody? Like, there's something about this ain't right. So we finally get up there like, yeah, you sit here. Since you guys got a problem, sit here. And then we go up to talk to the judge about it. Yeah. We go up in front of the judge. And he's looking at me and he was like, what's your problem? And he let me with an attitude. What's your problem? Oh, of course. They all have attitudes. I said, man, I'm not going to be able to pay this. I said, I'm going to be up front. This is my rent. Did y'all not take into consideration the rest of the stuff? Because at first, because to be completely honest, the first trial, I was in a certain job where it wouldn't have mattered what they put me on because I wasn't working, big. I was working I was working at Pizza Hut and I was working at Bowling Alley. Yeah. So, what was you finna say for me? So, and we went in there with that, but I didn't know what I was doing so for everybody that don't know, if you are going into that type of situation, you need a financial affidavit. Yes, when you go in. You need to, if nobody tells you this, if you're going into your first thing, fill out your financial affidavit. Fill it out the correct way, but the thing is too, when we went in there, I didn't have that, so they had to reschedule another event. Mm-hmm. Push it out 2 more months. In that 2 more months, I got hired on the ADT. Right. And then in that month, I was selling security systems, and it was commission based only. Mm-hmm. So I had a great month. When I say it was I got a plaque still up in there. It was that good. It was that good. And that was the month that they took it from. And that month, and he said that he told me the cost. I said what? And then he looked at me. He said, it was more than that. I said, what do you mean it was more than that? He said it was supposed to be this amount. And I said, how? How did they but she had health insurance, so they took that part off of it for her. Yeah. And so they were like, so we helped you out. So they was like, well, what do you feel like it should be if it's not this? Yeah. And I said, well, damn, I wasn't thinking nothing at all, but if y'all think she need this amount, then you can make it this amount. But I just cut it in half. Yeah. And they were like, no. They're like, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take off, they took off $50. Oh, great. He took off $50 and he said, and then when I started saying, he basically cut me off and was like, take it or leave it. And then come to find out, when you go to pay it, depending on how you pay it, it's a fee that's damn near $30, $40. why it's so crazy. Yes, bro. So like I have been trying to get it set up for it to come out of my check.
Right.
So you have to, because all the offices are closed.
Yes.
So you got to call.
Yes.
So they left me on hold for like 2 hours. So like I keep hanging up. So I call the prosecuting attorney. I'm like, yo, I can't get a hold of anybody. And she said, okay, well, call this number and then pay it. And then they charge you like 20%
Yes.
to pay it. And then she said, well, if you don't want to pay the 20%, just mail it. So I went and bought some stamps. and I get a money order and it goes in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna take my money and then take my money? Bro, what?
You gonna charge me?
That's terrible.
You
Yes.
gonna charge me more for taking my money.
Yes, bro. Terrible.
And then on top of that, they charge you. I don't know about if they do this with you, but they sent me something talking about I had to pay a yearly thing for paying something for being on child, something like that. I had to pay a yearly. It wasn't that much.
Are you out of? Is yours out of Illinois?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm out of Missouri.
Okay,
so I never heard of that.
It's like I had to pay like a yearly thing to help out or something. I don't know, because I didn't really. I read it. I was
it's
like,
insane.
You're just asking for more money.
For more money.
For more money.
Yeah.
But with that, and then they take forever to. They set that up 2-3 years ago, and it just now got reduced.
Yeah.
Just now got reduced a couple months ago. But I honestly still haven't been able to pay for it because of COVID and the situation that we're in. So I'm still buying, bro. They take everything.
Yeah.
They take everything from you, and I just don't get it. I wish there really needs to be something better, because like I say, even with that financial affidavit, they took 800, and I had a whole folder. I came in there with a whole folder full of receipts, full of history, full of a whole bunch of stuff, full of my bills, all of that. Even on the financial affidavit, put on the bills, bro. And I just and even when I put the amount that I made, I just put commission based only, because I'm thinking commission, that you see I don't get this. Commission means I got to sell something to make the money. If I don't sell nothing, I'm broke. I don't make nothing.
Right.
And they didn't take in none of that. They didn't even look at yourself. And honestly, I could have wrote down just a little. I don't know how it works with everybody else, but they didn't. I could have wrote down whatever I wanted to.
You can. Because
on that paper.
Because that's what they do.
Yes.
And when I say they, of course, I'm
yes.
You're right. So, and really, from what I've learned, the only time they verify the information that was written down is with the fathers.
Yeah.
They always verify what I make. They never verify what she makes, ever. So, I pretty much told myself, like, bruh, I'm not going to. So, being a nurse, and especially because of COVID, like, we pretty much had it made.
Yeah.
I've been able to make almost
I'm already knowing you racking it up.
Man. But of course, she knows that too.
Mm-hmm. She's making it right now.
So, my plan, and it's really not to be petty, but my plan is, once I'm done, like, with my contract, I'm going to get a regular job.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be making this money forever. COVID is going to eventually end, and I'm not going to be able to afford
what y'all about to put on me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of that now, which they're working through with me now. But yeah, it's definitely something that I'm finna pay attention to. But one thing that I was asked, and I found it to be a very interesting question. Somebody asked me, and I don't remember who it was, but they asked me, with everything that I've been through with this situation with my oldest daughter, if I could go back and do it again, would I? And
that's
it's a hard question. But I answered it though. I thought about it, and I'm like, would I? Because of course, if you say no, I wouldn't, then that means you wouldn't have your daughter.
Right.
And I think my answer is still no, I wouldn't. But, because then when I say it, like, everybody face, like, what you mean? But this is the way I think of it. No child, boy, girl, whatever, deserves to grow up without their father.
Yes.
And as of now in my life, I don't know what might change, but as of now, that's my daughter's reality. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't wish that on any child. So if I could go back and do it again, then I would. And I wouldn't have her. And I love her to death. But my baby deserves better than that. Yeah. She deserves to have a dad. And I would just hope that whatever situation she would be born in, it would be better than what it is now. And that's my rationale behind
And
So
that's the way to look. Because when you said that, that's the first thing, and I think about that honestly all the time.
Yeah.
Because of course you think, if I didn't go through all this, where would I be? Because I don't know about you, but I'd be counting up all the money that I've sent that has been taken away from me, and all this, and I'm like, you have gotten all of that just from having my kid. Yeah. And to be honest, I was the one who really wanted her. I was the one who did, the judge. It takes two to tango, but I was the one who had the intentions. I was the one who, at the end of the day, I was like, I want a kid, and you have my kid. Right. And I was not, and then on top of that, it wasn't that, we didn't work out, and I had to go away, but that even came up because the reason why, that happened because we had a court, so we had some paperwork that was filed or whatever, that I didn't really know if it was really filed or whatever, because I didn't know what was going on at the time, which is why I said, if you're having a kid young, you need to really look up and find out what's really going on. Because when we separated, I just left her there because I thought I was going to go to the military, we was together. And so I had tried to go ahead and just put together some paperwork. I had talked to her about it, put together some paperwork, joint custody paperwork, whatever. But she came back and just gave me, some paperwork basically saying it was joint custody. And I didn't read it all the way through. I just went through what I said and I signed it. And it said, with me going to the military, supposedly at that time, if we ever broke up, the child would just stay with her. Yeah, because I was thinking I'm in the military. I'm 18, 19 years old, thinking I'm finna go right to the military 2 months, thinking right now, not thinking in future terms, thinking I'm finna be with her forever, whatever. So I'm pretty sure, I still to this, bro, so much crazy stuff happened. I don't be remembering what's what. Man. But I'm pretty sure I signed it, but with that being in the back of my head, when we went through our altercations, I didn't know what to do, so I just left her with her mom, just thinking, that would be the best. But now, if I wish I would have known everything, I would have taken a completely different route. So if I would ask that question, I would honestly answer it the same way you did. Of course, my child gets to see me all the time, but I had both of my parents growing up. Exactly. And she was growing up, she has both of her parents, but we're on two completely different sides of the world. Right. So she doesn't have me all the time. She has, somebody else who's not really her father, but his father figure in her life. But that eats me up to this day. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. But with all of that, I would say the same thing. I don't want her to live that life, because eventually she's going to grow older, she's going to ask a lot of questions. Exactly. She's going to want to know what happened, why this happened. I don't want her to look at either side, because we both did our dues. Exactly. I did my reason why we're not together. You did your stuff while we got together and broke up, whatever. But she's going to find out the truth. Well, the thing is, and I think that's the thing, I don't think she's going to find out the truth. Because my daughter's not going to find out the truth. Because no woman is going to stand up and go, I kept you away from me. Exactly. Man, look, that's not gonna happen. Well, because in my case, my daughter's not gonna find out the truth unless she talks to me and talks to my family. Your daughter is gonna find out whatever her mother wants her to know. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And then when you get your daughter, then you gonna have to be. Your mama told you what? Exactly. No, it didn't happen like that. You know what I'm saying? Because even with my parents, my parents. We're married. They divorced or whatever. But my mom, was in St. Louis for pretty much most of my childhood. And my mom told me crazy things about my daddy. Like he didn't live 10 minutes away, and I had to go ask him. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then I'd be asking my dad, like, did this happen? And my dad's like, nah, bro, that didn't. Something wrong with your mom. Right. That didn't happen. And even my older brother and sister, like till this day, like their mom has always told them, like, your dad didn't want to have nothing to do with you. Right. And it's just not true. So I think that's like the biggest thing with me. With my daughter, whenever that does come, if she does get older and she gives me that opportunity, I just hope that she's willing to accept my side of the story. Because like with me and her mother, we both made mistakes. We both done things that we shouldn't have done. But I hope I still have like a lot of the same friends, a lot of the same people in my life, so that she can hear it from just more than me. It's not just a. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. I can't even go into all of that. We're gonna bring you back on. We're gonna wrap it up in a little bit. Okay. But yeah, so because I want to get this last question in before we go, because we're at the end of our time, and you brought it up already. Okay. like you said, if you had to give your statements to a father on this show, because on Dad's Talk podcast, we bring the shining light to fathers, like I said, to hear us so we could just talk.
Right.
What would you say to that father who is giving up? And what would you say to that father who's not there?
Okay, so I'll do the father that's not there first. To the father that's not there, man, I would just tell him to ask himself why. You know what I'm saying? And if that's something that you're comfortable living your life like, you know what I'm saying? And I would encourage. You know, we don't know people's story.
Right.
We're so quick to judge,
so
quick to throw out these names. Oh, you a deadbeat. Oh, you ain't shit. Oh, you. Why? Is it because you're afraid to be a father? Because I was. Is it because you don't know how? Because I didn't. I just said whether I know how or not, I'm gonna figure it out.
You see my face.
Right. So it's like, why? If it's just because you don't want to, then want to. Because you created that and they need you. To the father that's thinking about giving up, I would tell him to know what you're doing before you do it. Know the consequences that it comes with. Because sometimes you may be justified in doing it. And that's another thing that people don't understand. If you can't afford to fight no more, if you have other kids that you're financially obligated for, that are in your home, that are here every day, then you may have to not necessarily give up, but you may have to step back and let that situation breathe and focus on what you can control. Because when you've been in this system and they've taken your money and they've taken your child and they've taken everything that you got, you gotta keep your sanity because you owe it to them other kids. And they don't deserve to suffer because these people done took everything from you. You know, so I would tell them, hey, just know what you're doing. Know that this child may never deal with you. You know what I'm saying? And if you can keep going, keep going. But if you have gotten to the point where you're just like, hey, I can't do this anymore, then take that step back, focus on what you control, what you can control, love what you can love, and that's just something that you have to deal with. Hey, and don't have no more kids. That's what I'll close it out on. Wrap it up.
That's what we will close out on.
Yeah.
Man, this was great. Appreciate it a lot. We're definitely going to bring you back on here because there's a whole lot of other things that we could have got into that we didn't even get into that a lot of people need to hear. Like I said, on LOCO with Dad's Talk podcast, we are bringing that shining light to fathers. We're just going to give you guys that space to come in here and just talk. People need to just hear our voice sometimes. Like I said, we always sit back and we do our justice and either do or don't do what we're supposed to do and just take it and run with it. But in here on LOCO, as you see, you can come in here and just be yourself. And with that being said, again, I want to thank you. Appreciate it. That's all for us. We cut it out.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich.